Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit scared to do this one, the full frontal. What is Risky Biscuits without the risk? 3, 2, 1.
So I have once again found myself in the lovely state of Florida. I got to make 2 stops. 1, Wawa, because we don't have Wawas in Arizona, and 2, Aviator Paramotor. I'm headed there now for sunrise, and there's a brand new glider from Ozone that's been out for a few months, and I haven't had a chance to try one yet, and I'm actually pretty stoked to try it. It's called the Moxy, and basically the Mojo has been the go-to beginner school first flight glider forever. The Moxy, from my understanding, is supposed to be an even more beginner glider, which is crazy. My mind thinks, how can you get more beginner than the Mojo? But that's what I want to find out today. So in full disclosure, I do not get paid a dime for making these first impression wing videos. However, I am a dealer and a big fan of Ozone products. So if you like what you see and you want to pick up a Moxy for yourself, I have them available on my web store, tuckergott.com. You can also email me at info@tuckergott.com if you have any questions. One cool thing about the Moxy is Ozone really reduced the price on these. The smaller sizes start at $3,200, which, for comparison, a Mojo starts at $3,800. So if you like what you see, hit me up with an email or visit the web store. Let's get into the first flight. All right, so we're out here at Aviator. They're doing some training right now. They got students in the air. Some of these students, I don't even know, they're not even halfway through training, and they've got like over 40 flights already. So you guys know I always talk about Aviator. If you want to learn to fly, hit these guys up. Their link's in the description. But anyway, I got the Moxy laid out. Let's take a look at the wing before we fly it. This is a 26 meter. And at my weight, the 24, I'd be like at the max loading. The 26, I'd be at like 80%, which is what most students should be at for their first flights. So given that this is a student wing, this is the appropriate size for what I weigh. Let's take a gander at the risers. Now these risers are pretty dang similar to the Mojo. Super basic, A's, B's, C's, color coded. They got the nice new Ozone neoprene toggles and the snap locks. They do lock the trimmers. If you can see up here, there's a little malleon that locks the trimmer in the closed position out of the box. You have to take that off. I guess it's like a liability thing or whatever, I don't know. But you can easily take that malleon off and then that opens up your trimmers. But for this flight, they're locked closed, so I won't be able to try trimmers at all. But you know, they're your standard short trimmers. Coming around to our wingtip though, you'll notice we've got a winglet. Ozone has been adding winglets to a lot of their gliders, like the Viper XC, the Viper 6, the Triox 2, and the winglets are supposed to help with stability, specifically like oscillation roll control. And I know that the Mojo, if you loaded it heavy at the top or overloaded, it would have a little tendency to oscillate. So I think that's going to be a really good feature, especially for students. You don't want your glider oscillating when everything's happening. You want it stable and tracking straight. So I'm going to observe if I feel more stability. Got the Moxy Power logo. As far as cell openings, it's looking pretty similar to the Mojo, but I know that this glider has a lower cell count and a lower aspect ratio, meaning it's more boxy than rectangular. And all that means is more passive safety. The more square your wing is, the better it's gonna recover from collapses. Higher performance wings are much more elliptical. But yeah, that's about all I can say about it. The lines are sheathed. I think we may as well get her up in the air and get some impressions. I'm kind of tempted to pull some minor collapses on this thing just to see how it performs, because that's what a glider like this is kind of all about, is safety. But we'll see how I feel. I've heard it's super safe, super stable. It's A-rated across the board. So maybe if I'm feeling a little spicy, we'll pull some collapses. But let's get in the air and find out.
Alrighty, Moxy Power. I'm thinking there's enough breeze that I can pull off a reverse launch. So whenever there's enough, I like me a good reverse launch. Hopefully not anything to do with the reserve today. Got a little berm behind me. Gotta make sure I get up and out before I hit the berm. No Sedona replays. Let's give this baby a whirl. Very stable so far. Nice. That was the most simple launch ever. Hell yeah. Dude, this thing is hands off. Right off the bat. I am doing nothing to fly this glider. Alright, up we go. So far, I literally just took off. I'm 30 seconds into this flight. But that launch was beautifully easy, and that's what you want. Glider inflated perfectly in that light breeze, came right up above my head, stayed above my head, even with the trims fully closed, had no tendency to fall back, and plenty of lift to take off. And as soon as I got off the ground, I can immediately notice, just like the Viper XC, that this thing wants to track a straight line, which I would account to the winglets. Alright, let's try a little bit of maneuvering. Beginner gliders aren't supposed to be like super responsive. They're supposed to feel like boats. They're supposed to keep you safe, but you still want to be able to toss it around a little bit. This being a 26 meter, I'm not expecting it to be dialed razor sharp handling, but it feels good. It feels exactly like what you would want for a beginner. You don't want a beginner to hook it in and crash because they over-controlled the glider. Do a little spiral action. She'll stay wingtip below the horizon. Hell yeah. That was a Cam Patterson. If you watched Kill Tony. Look at this. Beautiful little clouds starting to form. I'm just gaining altitude so I can try out some maneuvers. I'm going to try some mild wing overs. I always have an adjustment period because I fly slalom gliders all the time to get back into the rhythm of a big, boaty beginner glider like this. It's kind of tough. Let's just try not to explode the outside of the glider and I'll be happy. Yep, she wing overs. She definitely wants to come back to straight and level. It's like auto correction. Alright, I kind of want to try a sat. I don't know if I'm even going to be able to get it because I'm going to need a wrap or two. I don't know if I can even get 2 wraps on this bad Jackson. Let's try it with 1. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but it's worth a try. Yeah, she sats. Okay, I'm gonna come out. Woo! Okay, that takes a lot of brake pull and hurts my hand. Now I have a sat scar. But she did it. Good Moxy. Alright, now for the scary part. I'm going to kill my motor, stow my throttle. We're going to try some collapses. I got the wing cam on. First off, super simple and basic. Big ears. She does them. And if I release, they come out slowly on their own. Let's try a little asymmetric. First I'm going to go slow on this one and correct with my opposite side. Oh, that's a lot of pressure, honestly, to get her to go. And then when she goes, we can fly half of the wing. And I'm giving a little left weight shift and a little left brake input. Release, and she comes back. Let's try that one kind of accelerated. super benign, but my camera turned. So let's try that again. This one's a little accelerated. And dude, nothing happens. I'm gonna try again. Super accelerated. But I'm just gonna hold it, and I'm holding a neutral body position, and I've slowly turned 90 degrees, and I'm flying on half of the wing. No left pressure, neutral weight shift, and she's back. All right, let's see if I can fire this engine back again and get some more altitude. All right, we're back with some more altitude. Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit scared to do this one, the full frontal, but after seeing those asymmetrics, I'm confident. What is risky biscuits without the risk? This one, full frontal, I know it's gonna be a lot of force to get this baby to go. So let's see what happens. 3, 2, 1. Oh, I dropped my toggle because I'm an idiot. Let's try that again. 3, 2, 1. Dude, this thing doesn't even want to shoot. 3, 2, 1. That is no correction. Now, given I'm not holding it down for super long, but normally you want to be ready to catch the surge on the exit, and I'm not doing like anything. 3, 2, 1. It's like my instinct to want to catch it, but it just reinflates. 3, 2, 1. That's so much force. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, dude, that is hands up, and she just pops out. And my hands are kind of beat up from those. Woo! That will get your adrenaline pumping. But honestly, it's so benign. It's just that I don't ever do these maneuvers, and honestly, you shouldn't be doing collapses like this unless you're like in an SIV over water with rescue boats. I'm out here over hard ground with one reserve. Not the best environment to do that, and that's kind of what makes it extra scary. But dude, this thing recovers super easily. The asymmetrics literally like aggressively yanking and holding, and it barely even turned 90 degrees, and those frontals full on yanking, and it pops right back out. I am sort of surprised how much pressure is on those A-lines. Normally, like from my experience with the Mojo, the A's are a little bit looser, so you don't have to pull them with as much force to collapse, but these guys have some pressure on them. Thank you to Aviator for letting me try out the Moxy. Thank you to Micah for letting me borrow his motor. I'm going to say it in the end of this video, but if you guys are interested in any Ozone gliders, hit me up. I'm out here risking my life and limb, collapsing these babies to show that they're safe and show the performance. So if you see this video and you're like, hey, that's a glider that I would like to learn to fly on, or just a glider to have as a second glider, hit me up. I'd love to sell you one.
All right, closing thoughts on the Ozone Moxy Power. Before I started this review, I wanted to see what the real difference was between the Mojo and the Moxy, because they're in the same category. They're your school beginner first flight gliders. At the end of the day, I was honestly very impressed with the Moxy, and for the role that they fulfill, if I had to choose one, I would choose the Moxy every time. Here's why. Inflation was definitely superior on the Moxy. A lot of times on the Mojo, especially with beginners, I end up letting the trims out a little bit to aid in the inflation and keep the glider above their head. The Moxy, trims closed, I had zero trouble with it staying above my head. Second, stability, specifically with those winglets. Like I mentioned on the Mojo, when you load it up heavier, it does have that tendency to start rocking back and forth a little bit. The Moxy had none of that. In fact, in the maneuvers I was doing, it wanted to just self-correct and come back to level, which is great for a beginner. The glide performance. When I killed my motor and I was gliding back down for the landing, I noticed that this thing just wanted to hang in the air, which is kind of rare for an A-rated glider, because A-rated gliders aren't necessarily looking for maximum efficiency, they're looking for maximum safety. And that's normally at the sacrifice of efficiency. But this thing just stayed in the air for a long time, and Micah, one of the instructors at the field, actually commented that a lot of the students that they have on Moxys will overshoot their landings because they're gliding so much longer than a Mojo. Flare was definitely superior than the Mojo. A lot of times on the Mojo, you come in and you flare and there's not much there, and sometimes it just kind of gives out at the last minute. With the Moxy, when I landed, I felt like it had a nice, more powerful flare, which probably comes from that increase in efficiency. And lastly, passive safety was definitely superior to the Mojo. The original Mojo power, I was comfortable pulling a lot of collapses and B-stalls, in fact, but when I got the Mojo Power 2 and I started getting into some collapses, I realized that it was a little bit more spicy than the original Mojo, and I kind of stopped doing that sort of thing. The Moxy, you guys saw, frontals, asymmetrics, no problem. That thing just wanted to fly. It was definitely more safe than the Mojo Power 2. Now that leads me to wonder, why would you choose the Mojo Power 2? And I think that the main advantage that the Mojo Power 2 has is probably in the handling. Back to back, I think you would notice a difference that the Mojo would handle a little bit better, it would roll a little bit better, it would be a little bit more spicy, but like I said, this is for a beginner, so you want the most docile, dialed, smooth flying glider, and I think all the advantages that I just listed of the Moxy definitely outweigh the handling advantages of the Mojo. So for that reason, if and when I start a paramotor school, I will be reaching for the Moxys for first student flights. I hope this first impressions review video was helpful to some of you guys. Like I mentioned, I'm an Ozone dealer. If you want to get your hands on a Moxy or any other Ozone glider, hit me up, info@tuckergott.com. First link in the description is my web store if you want to make a purchase. And also I have Aviator link down there if you need some training. Hope you guys enjoyed. Till the next one, have fun, fly safe, peace.